He's been an award-winning media personality and producer. As a speaker, he's empowered over 1 million people from the stage. Now one of the leading business coaches and brand experts is taking over the world of on-demand audio. It's the Business Bully Podcast. Now here's the business bully himself, Dave Anderson.
We're going to move the show along because we have a fantabulous speaker today, man. He was here before. Y'all know him. He's been here before. He ain't no stranger to the show. But here's the thing. I want to say this to you. You heard Marcia talk about the challenge she was in. You can hear the uncomfortability in her voice because good coaching makes you uncomfortable. Well, we got the man today that's going to make you uncomfortable. He is known as the business bully. That's right. He is known as the business bully because he is going to get you into shape and he's going to make you uncomfortable. That's what he's supposed to do. Let me tell you about this man. He's worked with everyone from Les Brown to Wendy Williams to E.T., the hip-hop preacher. I mean, he has done everything. He is known as the father of modern podcasting. That's right. He has, check this out. He's made over $27 million. $27 million for his clients. Over $27 million for his clients. Can you believe that? Guess what, guys? He has spoken to 1 million people from the stage. He is here right now. We got some background noise going on, but I want to make sure we shut that down real quick. We got some background noise right now. So I want to welcome to the Blackfield Morning Show. Everybody, welcome Mr. Dave Anderson. Dave, are you there?
Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Can you hear me?
We hear you loud and clear, brothers. The mic is yours. Take it away.
Yes, indeed. Now, I apologize. I'm actually on the road heading back to Philadelphia on a long, long road trip out here getting this work, spending some time with the family. So I'm so happy to be back. It's been a while, and I found new and inventive ways to tick you off. So I'm excited about this series that I'm calling The Diagnosis, the Prescription, and the Recovery. Because when I was a kid, one of my favorite rappers was Tupac. Not because of his rap skills and not because of his antics. I enjoyed it when he sat down with the press because he would say things to people that would resonate in such a way that you either were impressed and enthralled by it or you were disgusted by it. And my favorite Tupac phrase is, I didn't create thug life. I diagnosed it. So I'm going to bite and jack and remix his phrase by saying, I did not create black CEO trauma. I diagnosed it. And so I have a very nice diagnosis for what I've been seeing in the lexicon of my peers when it comes to the way that we operate in our businesses. And so the first thing that I've noticed by doing a thorough examination of most black CEOs that I come across is that we're obsessed with perfection. Perfection slows down your ability to grow and make money. I always say to everyone I ever come in contact with is saying, well, Mr. Anderson, I was just worried about this, and I was just trying to get this right, and Halley's Comet comes once every 86 years. I just wanted to make sure that the stars aligned in such a way that when I did this thing to grow my business, it was going to launch. Well, I say to all of that, shut up. Done is better than perfect. While you're waiting for the stars to align, someone else is scaling their business with dollars that would have been yours if you weren't so worried about being perfect. And when it comes to perfection, it's not the perfection you're seeking. It is the approval of people who may not even be in your target audience, may not even be in your target market. In other words, you're worried about the people you went to high school with. You're worried about what your cousins are going to say. You're worried about people on Facebook. And if those folks aren't buying from you, they should not be your concern. Perfection is killing your progress. Perfection is killing your ability to scale. Books have editors for a reason. You write the book, they clean it up, they give you notes, they tell you what they need you to fill in the holes. They want to make sure that you're not being repetitive. But if you don't write the book, the editors have nothing to edit and nothing gets published. Shows have producers. When you have a show, I've spent 25 years in radio. When you have a show, after the show, you will listen to tapes. You'll say, we can adjust that. And even then, most major syndicated shows I've worked on, we would have earpieces in. So I could talk to the talent and say, hey, I need you to scale back. You got 10 seconds to get out of this break. Or, hey, make sure you hit this point. Or make sure you ask this guest this particular question. That way, you don't have to obsess with being perfect. You have to revive and make it perfect as you go. So the second part of my diagnosis is that black CEOs are scared to death to market themselves. No, I said it. You are scared to death to market yourselves. I know people right now who have told me to my face that the reason they aren't marketing is because, well, word of mouth is working just fine. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's great. But what happens if somebody decides to stop talking? Trying to save money by not marketing is like trying to save water by not bathing or trying to save air by not breathing. It's stupid. We are in a market where we could dominate based upon our skills and our offerings, but if no one knows about it, like that old adage says, if a tree falls in the forest and no one's there to hear it, does it in fact make a sound? I don't know. But a lot of you are running around telling people about your business, but they don't know anything about it because you have not produced receipts. You haven't been consistent in your marketing. You're scared to death to invest in the very thing that's going to make you more money. You are literally holding on to a hot coal because you're hoping that it's going to turn into a diamond instead of letting it go and healing the burn you've created through no fault of anyone else other than your stubbornness. You take for granted that people automatically know what you do and all that you do. And you do that simply because you don't want people to think you're being arrogant. You don't want people to think that you're bragging and boasting on what it is. But let me tell you something. The Bible says, do not hide your light under a bushel, but make it so that all can see. So if the Bible is instructing you to not hide the light that you have inside of you, meaning the gifts that God putting you in order to give you that vision for that business in the first place, then why are you disobeying the direct order? The song says, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. But you're not. You're not letting it shine. You're just working, and then you're commiserating with your friends where it's, oh, woe is me. Oh, I made this thing and no one's buying it. I saw Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner 37 and 1/2 time and said, if you build it, they will come. And look, you built it and no one's showing up. You are not marketing. You are not letting people know what you're doing on a consistent basis. You are taking it for granted. Now, the third part of this very, very vicious diagnosis that I'm sure right now is making you, Earl. I promise you, Barrett's going to provide barf bags at the end of this so that you don't make a mess on your nice clothes. A lot of you are innovating at the level of your comfort zone. I hear this all the time with my coaching clients. Oh, well, you know, I'm not one of those social media people. Oh, yeah? That's wonderful. That is amazing. That's so funny to me. 37,342. 37,342 probably doesn't mean anything to you, but that's the exact number of advertisements that McDonald's puts on social media per day in all countries that McDonald's exists in. Why? Because they understand that social is where people are. When my parents were my age, everybody listened to the radio and read the newspapers. TV was a third option. It wasn't the first. Now we live in an age where most business, most entertainment, most transactions are done on people's smartphones. So for you to say you're not a social media person, you're either a multi-billionaire or a multifaceted idiot. Social media has nothing to do with your feelings. It's not about your feelings. It's about the growth of your business. To take that to another level, it is about creating a legacy that your children and your children's children can live off of. I've heard people tell me, oh, well, you know, I just don't like to go live because I don't like the way I look on camera, and I haven't had my eyebrows done, and, oh, brother, my haircut ain't right, and, I got a little bit of a acne breakout right here. Oh, shut up. Let me tell you something. There are people I know who look like gargoyles who will get on social media and turn on that camera and go live and make money. Going live has revolutionized my business and the business of my clients. $27 million is not a number to shake a stick at. but it is the combined amount of revenue generated from my clients, simply because 80% of that was done by going live. The problem is when you don't have direction on how to go live and you're so concerned with what it is you'll say. Well, I'm confident in my business, but when I get on the camera, I just don't know what to say. So let's address that. You're saying that because what's happening is when you're in front of an audience or you're talking to your friends or you're at a networking event or you might have a business where you're vending a lot, you can talk to someone one-on-one and you can look at their eye movement, you can judge their body language, you can tell whether or not they are into what you're saying. But when you're speaking to your phone or to your tablet or to the webcam in your laptop, you can't see the body language and the eye movements and those little subtle cues on the other end of the internet. You don't know what someone's doing on the other side of that camera. And so that in and of itself makes you nervous because you can't control what they're going to say about you while you're going live, after you go live, or if they send it to somebody else to cackle. All of which are superficial because let me let you in on a very, very rare secret here, Black CEO Morning Show. They're talking about you anyway. And like the old country song says, you better give them something to talk about. You need to stop thinking that there are certain applications or certain social media platforms that are for kids. If, in fact, everything was for kids, explain why Newsweek, CNN, Time Magazine, MSNBC, and all of these places all have Snapchat accounts. If some of these quote-unquote social media sites were for kids, if they have an audience, if they have eyes and ears, they need to be there. There is a reason why they advertise not only toys, but soap and clothing and cars during kid shows on television, because it's the parents that they're trying to get at. And they know normally that their parents are usually going to be watching with their children some of the time at least. And so they want to make sure they get a hold of that audience. Social media is no different. You need to spend a lot less time worrying about what people think and figuring out how to scale your business. Now, before I go too far deep, I need you to understand that a lot of what we do, because we are an oppressed people, because we have seen things and experienced things that are completely unique in the American landscape, we keep things very, very close to the vest. But like you've heard the people on the Black CEO Morning Show tell you, collaboration is essential. But one thing that I hear that I can't understand is I'm so afraid that someone is going to steal my idea, that someone is going to go out here and do what it is that I'm setting out to do, and they're going to beat me to market. Where, call the wambulance. If you had a chocolate cookie with cream in the middle, most people would call it an Oreo, and they'd be wrong. It was a Hydrox first. Oreo came out and made a better cookie and had a much better marketing plan. They called it America's Favorite Cookie. They had a nice little jingle, "Who's that kid with the Oreo cookie?" And they showed you all the different ways you could eat that Oreo. You could open it up. You could eat the chocolate. You could lick the cream out of the middle, put the two cookies back together, dunk it, eat it, swallow it, the whole nine. They made it fun. They made it an American pastime to eat Oreos. And Hydrox could not compete. And not to mention the name Hydrox sounds like something that you would use to treat gout. You know, so a lot of times it's not about who is going to steal your idea. It's whether or not they're going to execute it the way that you would. I don't care if you gave me Tiger Woods golf clubs. Now, I can drive the ball 400 yards in the wrong direction, but Tiger ain't got nothing to fear from Dave Anderson. I will not, in fact, win 6 NBA championships if you give me Michael Jordan's ball, his shoes. You know, Like Mike was a great movie with Little Bow Wow for kids, but in reality, you can give me his shoes, you can have him coach me, and I'm not going to fly from half court. It just ain't going to happen. Bugs Bunny is not going to recruit me to take on the Monstars. I cannot do what he does. If, in fact, you were to give me Serena Williams' tennis racket, I ain't going to win no championships. I'm not that good with tennis. I'm not that fast, and, well, my coordination isn't that great. It's about you and what you bring and your unique gifts. Somebody can take your idea, but can they execute it like you? And if God gave you an idea, he's going to allow you to see through it. Not that I'm trying to preach, but I need you to be reminded of the fact that you were not given an idea to worry. A spirit of fear was not putting you. A spirit of excellence was putting you. And you need to feed that spirit of excellence with a spirit of execution. And the best way to make sure that you get an execution booster is to get yourself a coach. Now, I know we live in a time where everybody's a coach. There's 15,936,933 different coach certification programs. Somebody's a life coach. Other people, are business coaches, and most of them aren't worth the paper they're printed on or the paper their certification is printed on. So what I would need you to do is be as discerning about choosing your business coach as you are about what you're going to eat for dinner. Is this going to work for me? Is it gluten-free? Does this person have the type of evidence to back up what they're saying? Can they give me testimonials? Have they worked with people? Have they ever built a multi-million-dollar business? If you can't get those questions answered or they can't answer those questions, run. But by all means, I am begging you, I don't care if it's with me because I understand that I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I'm a big old shot of bourbon and everybody can't take it because I burn your throat and I get you drunk on possibilities. So I want you to find someone who will work with you, who will speak to you, but hold you accountable. When you are a black CEO, you feel like Invictus. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. And you think that you can do it all, and then when you realize that you are in fact human, and you can't do it all, or you don't know it all, or the level of learning has not met the level of skills required to take you to 6 and 7 figures, then it is time to hook up with a coach. It is time for you to get yourself in a position to not only win, but to dominate. I am tired of having to diagnose people with possibility palsy. You are crippled by the possibilities of what you could be because you won't open yourself up to learn from someone else who has been where you're trying to go. Coaches don't get paid to do the job for you. They get paid to cut down on the learning curve. If I have traversed a really big terrain, and I know that there are caverns and there are holes and there are pitfalls and there are snakes, and I can show you exactly where the caverns and the holes and the pitfalls and the snakes are, wouldn't that save you time? Wouldn't that save you energy? Wouldn't that save you injury? Wouldn't that save you effort? The answer is a resounding yes. But, oh, no, I'm going to figure it out myself. I'm going to do it all by myself because Lord knows I don't want somebody telling me what to do. That's why I became an entrepreneur in the first place. Well, I hate to break it to you. If you are an entrepreneur, you will always have someone telling you what to do. They're called the customer. And if you don't have enough of them, you're not really an entrepreneur. What you are is someone who just bought their job. And if I were to give you a performance review, I'd probably fire you from your own business because you're not willing to take the steps to put your customers first by giving them the best possible product or service that they could possibly have. This is my diagnosis. Tomorrow we are going to discuss treatment. Barrett, I know that I done hurt some feelings, so I apologize in advance, but I yield my time to you, sir.
Man, I love it. I love it. I always say success and comfort don't mix, man. So it ain't about making people comfortable. It's about getting that point across. So I appreciate you so much for what you did today. Yeah, Dave came in. He knocked down some doors, knocked down some walls, but it needed to be said. It definitely needed to be said. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to give you guys a chance to ask him some questions. So if you do have a question, what I want you to do is hit star 2 right now. Hit star 2 right now. And we're going to come to you guys in a minute and get your question. But first, I want to start out with our very own Belton Style. Belton, I'm going to hand the mic over to you to ask the question from man Dave Anderson.
Wow, Dave, that was absolutely amazing. Thanks for that. You know, it's one of the things that you talked about was people having or making that change in their mind to do something different. How do they go about really making that change? Because a lot of it's mental and emotional. You know, are there some steps that they can take to start turning that ship in the ocean?
Yes, the first thing they need to do is stop asking everybody what they think. And by everybody, I mean their mama and them. I mean their close little friends. I mean, you have to understand where we go as entrepreneurs and where we go as black CEOs, most people have never been. We have been taught one thing since June 19th, 1865, and that's go out and get a good job, and go out and get an education, and go out and go work for someone. And you'll never be promoted to owner. And so to be an owner, you have to operate in a different space. You have to put yourself in a position where my feelings are not as important as the actual facts. And so the first thing that I would say is you need to have someone do an analysis of your business. You need to have someone do what lawyers call discovery. You need to sit down with someone who can give you a discovery session and say, okay, tell me what you're doing. Show me your numbers. Let's talk about where you would like to go. Let's look at your marketing. Let's look at everything that you need to do. And then the coach will allow you the freedom to shift in a safe space. See, most people are afraid to shift or afraid to make those changes or afraid to get out of their feelings because they don't know what's going to happen. A lot of us, because we are type A people, we're driven by being able to assess the outcome. And when we can't, we become nervous and shrinking violets all of a sudden. We go from captives of industry to little teeny tiny specks in the corner. And so when you have someone who can hold you accountable and point out the things that you can't see. You know, my mentor Les Brown would say you can't see the picture if you're in the frame. So once you have someone who can give you an objective point of view, who is not trying to sleep with you, who is not your friend, who doesn't have to worry about whether or not you're going to call them tomorrow because they said something that's going to make you mad, you are able to move with confidence because you know what they're saying is legitimate, as opposed to someone who's doing it who may have an ulterior motive or they just don't want to see you get hurt.
Awesome. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Good morning, Mr. Anderson. This is Marshall White, and I just want to thank you. Hey, how you? I want to thank you for just jump-starting my my marketing thoughts, because when you said, and I'm not sure if I wrote the figure down wrong, but 37,462 social media ads every day by McDonald's, like, why do they even have to market? Who doesn't know the Golden Arches? But yet they do. And so for those of us who haven't been consistent in marketing, that should be a wake-up call. So I appreciate it. I don't really have a question. I just have a thank you.
Oh, Marshall White, you know, I really appreciate you. The thing of it is, top-of-mind awareness is something that we completely neglect. It's not enough to be good. It's not enough to have enough money in the coffers. You need to get in a domination mindset. I want to be the only one. You know, I know that there are 1,000,001.
Oh, okay, we lost.
Through a patch. I know he's on the road.
Yeah, I think his call just dropped. I'm sure he'll call back in. But Mark, that one hit home to me too.
Yeah, I mean, like who does that? McDonald's, really? If you have kids, if you've been a kid, if you're friends with kids, you know McDonald's, and yet, Barrett, they just keep advertising. So what does that say about us? And we're worried about oversaturating the market and that people will think there's something wrong if we just keep putting ourselves out there. But yeah, that was
You're right.
For me.
Absolutely. Who doesn't know about a Happy Meal?
Right.
Child.
Right. And it's funny though, because I had this discussion with someone a while ago. I mean, it's on the McDonald's topic, and I asked people, I said, who is McDonald's market? And I hear people give different answers. They say kids. I said, no, McDonald's does commercials cater to senior citizens too. Who is McDonald's market? And I hear people they give me all different kinds of answers. McDonald's market is people who want to get food fast. That's really what they do. But anyway, Dave is back. We want to make sure we get him back on here. I know, Carlos, you had a question for him.
I do, man. I'm going to ask my question. This is Carlos V. Spencer, and I don't drink, man, so this bourbon in the morning is burning my chest. Like you burning me up this morning.
Love it.
Man, I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you giving to a straight no chaser, man. My question comes from this space. How do you help people, or what would be your suggestion for people who allow their emotions to get in the way of their success? Because I hear a lot of stuff that you're saying, and it's so much power in what you have conquered, and you can hear it coming from you. It's almost like, I don't care. I'm coming to make my way, and it's going to happen. But I know some people are not in that space. Any suggestion for those whose emotions are in the way of their success?
Absolutely. Two things. First of all, when I was a kid, I was really big into science fiction. I have a huge imagination. And I used to love Yoda because Yoda would say, fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, and hate is the way of the dark side. In other words, your feelings will always betray you. Your feelings are not rational. They're not rooted in logic. They're not rooted in data. Feelings are what you saw Kanye West do in the Oval Office and make a mockery of what he was trying to accomplish. Fear is what happens when people get out and say, well, you know, I'm just starting out, and everyone has to start, so blah. I don't care about you starting somewhere. Your feelings have nothing to do with the audience. Your audience, your market wants to buy from you, but you have to show up. If, in fact, like for me, believe it or not, I'm a very, very shy person. When I'm not working, I'm at home. Like I don't like people. I'm not a people person. I don't know. Everything I do is a necessity of the job. But that doesn't mean I don't have a heart for people. But I understand that my feelings have nothing to do with what I'm called to do. I'm not called to be the business buddy. I'm not called to be the business hugger. I am called to be the business bully because the industry needs me. You know, there's a space that you have to operate in. And in that space is where you're going to find your growth. Your feelings are just that. I don't like the fact that when I'm on that stage, I'll never forget, I spoke at the Wells Fargo Center in front of 18,000 people, and I was scared to death. And I was well over 500 pounds, and I was like, you know what? Hey, it is what it is. You know what? I'll show up on that Jumbotron, just extra jumbo, but I'm going to get this check, and I'm going to impress these people, and I'm going to make my mark because that's what I'm here to do. I can't worry about how I look. That's a feeling. I have to worry about the message that I have to give these people, because here's how you get the ultimate feelings out of your system. I went and spoke at a college in April, and there was a young man there, and he said, Mr. Anderson, after the Q&A, I'd really like to just spend 5 minutes with you if I could, which was an odd request. Most people don't want to speak to me one-on-one after an engagement, but okay. I spoke to him, and he said, I need to tell you something. And I saw this kid, 6'4", 200 pounds, good-looking kid. He says, I just want to thank you. You saved my life. And I never met him. He said, I was listening to your podcast, Mr. Anderson, and I was working in a call center, and I remember you saying that you were sleeping in your truck and you were washing up in a gas station sink. And I felt bad because I was living in my mom's basement, and I was working in this call center, but I really wanted to be a model, but I didn't know how to go about it. And you just said, listen, if you don't have the permission to be great, I'm going to give it to you. Go out there and do what you want to do because you're going to die anyway. You might as well die happy. And he said, the next day I went into my call center job and I quit. The day after that, I went up to New York and I secured a modeling contract, and I haven't looked back. And I just came here to thank you. I don't even go to the school anymore. He said, I heard you were coming, and I just came here to thank you. If I didn't do what I needed to do, as opposed to doing what my feelings would have me do, which is not do the podcast, which is not show up, which is not speak, which is not talk to people, which is not take pictures, that kid would probably still be in that call center. There's somebody waiting on you to step up. There's somebody waiting on you to show up so that they can see that it's possible for them. But if you don't show up, you're robbing other people of their possibilities because you're the one who's supposed to be their example. So that's how you get out of your feelings.
Wow. Good morning. This is Dakisha Williams, Dave, and you said something powerful, and I don't know if people caught on to it. And you were talking about how Black CEOs are scared to market themselves, and I run into this a lot. And it's where people say that, you know, I built my business by word of mouth. And I know you touched on it a little bit, but could you add some nuggets around the fact that they are resistant to digital marketing, online marketing, social media, and heavily rely, or as we say, put all their eggs in one basket?
Yeah, absolutely. Those people are stupid and they will fail. It's just a matter of time. It's not a matter of if.
I love
it. It's not a matter of if. It's a matter of when. And when I say they're stupid, I mean that in the most loving way possible. But it's completely stupid. Listen, here's what I mean. My 3-year-old is one of the most determined people I know. And I have a huge shovel. And I know good and well, if my 3-year-old daughter, she wanted to help me so bad, I'm sure she would come out there with her little teeny tiny, beach shovel and try to shovel that walk. She's trying to do what she feels is necessary in order to assist. And it's a wonderful gesture, but it ain't helping nothing. But the difference between my 3-year-old daughter and you is that she's 3. She doesn't have the luxury of experience. You live in a time when you can take advantage. Listen, I have clients in South Africa. I've got clients in Ghana. I've got clients in Paris. I've got a client in Canada. I've got clients all over the country doing all different types of things. If it were not for the internet, that wouldn't be possible. If it wasn't for digital marketing, it would not be possible. I'm probably going through a bad area. So if I'm breaking up, I apologize. It's impossible without digital marketing to grow your business. You have to understand. If you don't know how to do it, can you guys hear me okay? Okay. If you don't know how to do it, my father died in 2005. He would have been, he'd be almost 90 now. And my father would say to me all the time, Dave, if you want something done right, and I say, do it yourself, Dad? He said, no, idiot. Hire someone who knows what they're doing. So you don't have to be a digital marketing master. You just need to find a digital marketing master who can tell you, okay, read this script in front of the camera. I'll make it jazzy. There's an episode of The Simpsons where Homer meets his long lost brother. And the first thing his brother does is he takes him to a tailor. And he said, Homer, stop sucking in your gut. He said, let it all hang out. He said, you sure? He said, yeah, let it all hang out. So Homer's gut falls out in front of him. And then Homer's brother turns to the tailor and says, you hide that. Because Homer doesn't have the skills to dress himself to hide that big blubbery gut. So his brother got him an expert who could do that. But we don't want to invest. And I can look at a business and tell you exactly why they tell me my prices are too high for coaching. And I'm asking them how much they spend in marketing. Oh, well, I got some flyers. We did the yellow pages. I'm like, I'm sorry, did I call 1983? Is Reagan president where you are? What do you mean, flyers? Do you know what I do with flyers? They make really great posters for guests. They're amazing for when my barber needs to get my lineup right and he uses a little spray sheen, to keep the spray sheen out of my face. Flyers are good for that. The yellow pages is good for holding up a door if you don't have a doorstop. But if you want to reach people, you have to be where people are. P.T. Barnum said there's a sucker born every minute. I think right now there's a sucker born every 3 seconds because there's a whole bunch of suckers who are afraid of actually transforming their business if they just turn on a Facebook ad. There are more Facebook participants than there are Catholics on the planet. Let that sink in. But you should not be suffering or struggling or, watch this one, this one's going to hurt. Brace yourself right now. You should not be working a job if you have a business because you're afraid to turn on a Facebook ad, you're afraid to do some YouTube marketing, you're afraid to do text marketing. Half of you have an email list that you only communicate with once a month. If I bathed once a month, I'd be divorced. That's what I got on that subject.
Wow. Hey, you know what? We have a caller right now who has a question for you. Caller, you have 30 seconds to ask or give your comment to ask your question to Dave. You're on the air right now.
Wow. Good morning, Black CEO Morning Show host, and good morning, Mr. Anderson. This is Edith Hall, Black CEO, Las Vegas, Nevada. Wow. This has really been a wonderful morning, and I just wanted to send out a thank you. And they're right. You are a bully. Pick on somebody your own size. Anyway, I'm just trying to get life coach. I don't know which one to get, life coach or business coach, and I'm really trying to make a decision. So how would you know what would be better to have? Both? One? What?
The best business coaches are life coaches, because you can't separate your personal life from your business life, because one affects the other. If I don't perform, my kids don't eat. You know, and my kids are addicts. They like heat and indoor plumbing. So, you know, I've got to be able to address the needs. Every good business coach is an armchair psychologist. You know, I can literally spend 5 minutes with a person and show them exactly how to make six figures. Whether they'll actually execute on that, now that's a whole other matter indeed. But I would get, if you have a business that's already running, get a business coach. If you have an idea for a business, but you're not just there yet, and you need to work on your self-esteem, get a life coach. But only you can answer that question.
Wow, fantastic. I just have one thing I want to bring up that you mentioned. You said that we innovate at the level of our comfort zone. That one hit home, because it's something that I think everyone needs to take into consideration. What do you suggest for people to getting out of that comfort zone?
Here's what I know. In 2009, there's a singer named Jeremiah. And in 2009, Jeremiah was offered a deal to do a reality show on VH1. And he asked me what I thought, and I told him very frankly, I said, well, right now, Bobby Valentino just made another hit. Bobby Brown is in the gym. Trey Songz just said he invented sex. If it were me and I were you, I would do it, not necessarily for reality TV, but for the exposure. You have to find a way to get a leg up, you know, and he wasn't comfortable with being in front of the cameras. Now, you fast forward to now, well, Jeremiah got into that controversy with him and Tiana Taylor, and he's so shrunken, he's a shrunken violet now, that he actually has a stunt performer lip-syncing to his stuff on stage. What happens when you innovate at the level of your comfort zone is you become a dinosaur. And dinosaurs are only good for two things: looking at their bones in a museum and fueling my SUV.
I love it. So, Dave, real quick, before we let you go, man, let everyone know how they can get in touch with you.
Okay, awesome. So the one thing that I want to do is make sure that you have an opportunity to really sit down with me and my team and talk about growing your business, talk about putting yourself in a position to win. So you can right now go, we have some slots open where you can talk to me and my team. It's at bit.ly/bully call. bit.ly/bully call. And we'll spend about 45 minutes just going through your business top to bottom and giving you some actionable information. Not just some lip service, not just some feel-good crap, but actually helping you figure out some things and giving you some answers. And if there's some synergy there and we feel like it's a good fit, we might invite you to join what we call the Bully Gang. I don't have a tribe. I got a gang. The reason I have a gang is because my gang will cut for me, so I don't have to. My gang is ready to move at a drop of a hat, and if anyone needs something in my gang, the gang will provide, whether I'm there or not. And that's important. See, people want a tribe because everybody wants to be the chief. I don't want to be the chief. I want to dominate. I want to take over. So when you see the Bully Gang coming, you know what time it is. So I have a gang, and if it's a good fit, we'll allow you to join the gang. You'll get jumped in, and you will get this work. And I'm going to beat you down, and I am going to build you up. And that's what's necessary. So head on over to bit.ly /bully call. This is only day 1. Day 2 and day 3 are going to hurt you.
All right. Now, hey, guys, here's the thing. Dave's going to be back tomorrow. He's going to be back the next day. We want you to make sure that you tell your friends to be here, because tomorrow's Tell a Friend Tuesday.
Want more exclusive content and business development advice? Log on to facebook.com/thebusinessbully.